All right, shalom, shalom. It's going to come with a quick hit. All right. So the spirit on me going to these first and last names, that our people, you know, carry around with pride, man. In most cases. All right, and then you get into these family reunions, when they, might have the Johnsons or the Joneses or whatever name, all right, last name that's promoted, and our people take pride in that, but they don't know the origin of where these names come from. All right, and most of these first and last names go back into the plantation, all right, from the slave owner, all right, slave the master. You know what I'm saying? He will rename the slaves, our ancestors, to their names. All right, and you see our people lost in the south, man. They don't know what's going on. All right, they're in a dead state spiritually. All right, the body can be alive and able to do things, but if you spiritually lost, it's all in vain. All right, and you can see what it is. They have no clue what's going on. All right, so let's get into this information here, and it's something that's very alive and well. Most of our people still in this mindset. All right, and they get offended a lot of times when you bring the truth to them. It's amazing to see that. All right, but they gone. All right, it says, why were slaves given new names? All right, let's read this. It says, because to rename someone under your control removes an essential part of their self-identity. Right, so when you take somebody else's name and you give them a new name, well, they are destroyed from that point. All right, because that ties into then the white man. What he did too was a part of this. You know, is renaming you as being black. And hold up, when you first came over here, you was Negro. Then you went from Negro, you went to colored. Then from colored to African American. Then from African American to black. All right. How your nationality changed 4 times. How your race changed 4 times. They go to show you that if you have any kind of sense, you got to say, man, something's going on. They lying to me. And who has the power to do this? The so-called white man. We don't have any influence. We don't control the media. We don't control the institutions. They did this. All right. It's time you wake up, man, for real. All right. It says, let's finish reading this. It emphasizes the fact that their whole person is now at the whim of the slave owner. Yeah. So the white man could remold you, especially, you know, in slavery. They totally ripped them apart, man. Our people, in every kind of way imaginable, especially mental. We in a deep mental slavery right now. It's invisible chains on us, on our minds. All right, you haven't freed yourself. Like the scriptures say, in John 8:32, if I'm not mistaken, ye should know the truth, and the truth should set you free. You got to be free from your mind, because the so-called white man has your mind in captivity, whether you know it or not. Let's finish this up. This is not restricted to slavery, of course, but they go on to something else. But yeah, this was prophesied in the scriptures that this was going to happen to our people. That's why can't nobody dispute that the Bible is valid. You know what I'm saying? So let's get into this first scripture. This is the book of Jeremiah 17:4. And thou, even thyself, should discontinue from thine heritage. What does discontinue from thine heritage mean? We're gonna get into that word heritage. And you know what the word discontinue means. You was gonna lose it. That I gave thee, and I will cause thee to serve thy enemies. Did not the so-called black, and I'm just saying the Hispanics, so-called Hispanic and so-called Native Americans that was already here, all right, because they really went into slavery first, then they came and got us. All right, let's read this again. I will cause thee to serve thy enemies. All right, so the so-called white man is your enemy if you haven't got the memo. Don't let nobody tell you differently. They doing racism in a more convert way. It's called convert racism. Racism, Salakia. In the land which thou knowest not. For ye have kindled a fire my anger which shall burn forever. So we transgress the laws, statutes, and commandments, and we ultimately serve other gods. All right, as we still do today. Most of our people still calling on the name Jesus and they calling on the name God out of their ignorance, man. So heritage, let's get into that. So the Lord said we was going to discontinue from our heritage. So what does the word heritage mean? It says the traditions. So now our people have discontinued from the traditions that we did, which was to be the holy days, Now you do the so-called white man holidays, which would be Valentine's Day. That's another one coming up that's demonic. Easter, Christmas, Halloween, Thanksgiving. You culturally assimilated to the so-called white man ways, achievements. All right. So you get caught up in these degrees. You get caught up in all this other stuff of the so-called white man system. All right. You don't value the Bible and the wisdom and knowledge and understanding that's in there. All right. You look for other achievements, beliefs. You still believe that the Messiah is a so-called white man and his name is Jesus. Most of our people still believe that. If you don't believe that, hey, that's blessings unto you because you have snapped out of that reality. And it's many other things, right? Right? I'm just getting straight to the point, etc. And that they are part and that are a part of the history of a group of our nation. So black is not a nation of people. They don't exist. They don't exist. No Bible. Because all the people that's on the earth right now, they originated from the Bible. There's no such thing as black people. There's no such thing as white people in the Bible. All right. It's nations came out, not so-called black and white people, man. And you so-called blacks, Hispanic, and Native Americans descend from the you're a Hebrew Israelite by your race or your nationality. All right. Let's get back into this. But this was still going on with our people. They still in this dead state. They don't know who they are. All right. Because when you change the name and you rename people a different race, they lost. Right. So you got a generation. That's why I say the plantation ain't really went nowhere. It just evolved. All right. The plantation is on your mind now. All right. Kahala Yahweh. Ba'ashim Yahshua. Ba'ashim Rachak Wadah. Shalom.